good morning, everybody. Happy Hump Day to you. I'm Rob Evans. Welcome to Daybreak Plus. We're breaking down all the news you may have missed overnight and digging deep into what matters to you. Of course, education matters to all of us, right? And layoffs are underway right now in Valle ISD. Leaders are trying to deal with a $13 million budget deficit. Social workers are among those losing their jobs. And KVUE's Darren Shaharan shows us the impact on the families living in that district.
As Valle ISD tries to improve their $13 million deficit, jobs are being cut.
We have felt gaslit.
This licensed school social worker says up until recently, she wasn't expecting her job to be on the chopping block. She doesn't want to show her face on camera in fear of retaliation, but says on April 8, all 15 district social workers were told their contracts would not be renewed for the next school year.
We're devastated on a personal level, but we're also devastated for our children at our schools because Del Valle has a high number of crises, unfortunately.
The district told KVUE federal grants for social workers expired, and they're exploring partnerships to provide licensed social worker services. But the social worker we spoke with says they were told employees could apply for a position that doesn't require a license with nonprofit, community, and schools for $20,000 less pay and limited access to students.
General check-ins with students. That is a lot different than us being licensed social workers. Many of us also have clinical licenses in addition to that, and we're able to do evidence-based therapy interventions and as well as crisis interventions.
Honestly, we were really shocked. We were surprised. It's one of the shining parts, in my opinion, about Del Valle ISD.
Kayla Seguin has 2 children who use the services. She said when they couldn't afford a therapist, the Gilbert Elementary School social worker stepped in, especially for her 10-year-old Miette.
She's helped me a lot with my confidence, and I think that also she's helped me with a lot of my anxiety, and I feel like it's nice to have someone who can actually really connect with me.
In a statement, the district wrote in part, quote, "As always, our top priority remains protecting classrooms and ensuring the best possible education experience for our students and avoiding larger class sizes, the elimination of electives and other programs. Our goal is also to provide a salary increase for our staff," end quote.
That was Darren Shaharan there. We were also able to confirm that when it comes to longstanding librarian vacancies, well, those positions will be staffed by paraprofessionals or teacher aides. Well, let's look right now at the economy in Central Texas. Home sales are down 9% in the Austin area when compared to the first quarter of 2025 to the first quarter of 2024. So basically year over year, down 9%. According to the Central Texas Housing Report that just came out, prices are also down. The median sales price right now is just under $430,000. When you look over the past 3 years, home sale prices are down almost 30% from where they were in April of 2022. Now, there are 5 months worth of housing inventory, meaning if no new units were put on the market, it would still take 5 months for all the current ones to sell. And President Donald Trump has signed an executive order that aims to lower prescription drug prices. Specifically, the order directs the Department of Health and Human Services to take steps to reduce drug prices significantly. One of the goals, offering more discounts on life-saving medications for low-income patients. Another goal is to lower the price of prescription drugs for people on Medicare. And speaking with the Trump administration this morning, the trade war with China is escalating. Beijing announcing new restrictions on certain American-made products, and probably the most expensive American-made product that we have. ABC's Christiane Cordero has the details from Washington.
This morning, economic turbulence is fueling an unusual move from a major American airline carrier. United says it will now begin to offer investors 2 profit forecasts. One, if the U.S. were in a stable economic environment, another if we slip into a recession. The company warning the economy is impossible to predict this year with any degree of confidence. United also announced it's cutting back on flights. This comes as President Trump's trade war with China ramps up. Bloomberg reports Beijing has now told Chinese airlines to stop buying airline parts from American companies and will no longer accept deliveries of Boeing jets. Boeing is America's largest exporter by dollar value, with suppliers across all 50 states. Trump says China just reneged on the big Boeing deal.
Frankly, the Chinese haven't really been, like I said, ordering from Boeing. So the bigger issue here, I think, is Boeing delivering some of the airplanes they've already built for the Chinese.
The back and forth has led to big swings on Wall Street, with the stock market ending down again Tuesday.
This is man-made. This is policy-driven, and it's completely inconsistent. So how do you invest money and have a long-term strategy when the rules are changing almost daily?
Trump vows the volatility will be worth it. In the heartland, where billions of dollars in crops are sent to China, some farmers are optimistic Trump's tariffs will land them a fairer deal, eventually.
We're people that put crops in the ground and wait 4 months for something to happen, so we're kind of learned to be patient.
Trump has hinted that he may pause his 25% tariff on auto imports, driving global stocks up temporarily yesterday. The president said automakers need a little bit of time, but didn't offer specifics on what exactly he's considering or for how long. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
All right, 7:07 now. Let's see if we can get a check of the weather and traffic with Grace and Hannah. Grace, you in there?
Yes, I am here, Rob. Can you hear me? All right, let's take a check on our morning conditions. It is quite humid out there, and we're starting to even see a little bit of fog across the region, too. So we'll take a check on that map in just a second. Overall, kind of a good look, too, this morning, those low-level clouds. But near at the surface, if you're heading into the metro, things are looking pretty good, at least for the moment. Temperatures also not too bad. Most of us in the mid to lower 60s to start off our Wednesday. It is quite humid, though. 90% humidity in Austin, and then down towards San Marcos and Blanco, and even over towards LaGrange and San Antonio, kind of wavering on that 90 to 100% mark. We also have light winds in the area coming out of the south and east, bringing in a lot of moisture off the Gulf today. This is why we're seeing some visibility issues, especially down towards the airport, San Marcos also, and then a lot of Caldwell County seeing patchy fog this morning too. So if you're headed out those ways, make sure that you're using your low beams. Thankfully, we do have mostly high pressure in tow today, which should bring us more sunshine as we head into this afternoon. I will say that humidity isn't expected to nod off too much as we head into the end of the week here. We may be tracking more issues with fog as we head into our Thursday and Friday. Another thing we got to track is that potential for rain on Saturday and Sunday. We'll have a cold front moving through the area. It's going to take a while to move through, so we'll have some scattered storm chances for Saturday morning as well as Saturday night, and that extends into our Sunday morning as well. So here's a look at 8:30 in the morning on Saturday. You see that first boundary that kind of shifts towards the hill country there, and then that boundary kind of stalls out as we head through our Sunday. So Sunday morning, best chances are going to start in the hill country for those scattered showers and maybe a couple of thunderstorms as well. And then on Sunday night, we start to see that boundary really lift off into the east. So we should be totally done with this event as we head through our Easter here. So our weekend storm outlook, we do just have about a 15% chance of some stronger, maybe even severe thunderstorms for our Saturday night. And you can see that that moves all the way over into East Texas for our Sunday. So it's mostly going to be that Saturday night into early Sunday morning. So if you got early morning church plans for your Easter, of course, just make sure you're going to continue to watch that radar, especially as we head into that Sunday morning for y'all. All right, the next 7 days of rainfall, we are expected to get a good drink of water. Not really, an amazing one. We need probably 2 to 4 inches rather than just an inch out towards the hill country. And then that also spreads into the I-35 corridor as well. But, hey, we'll take what we can get. And we also have some lingering rain chances as we head into next week. You'll see Monday and Tuesday, isolated thunderstorm chances also continue. So that's good news, too, for our drought conditions out there. As for the end of this week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, it's mostly just going to be those humid and honestly hot conditions. We're back up to near 90 degrees for for Thursday and Friday. How are the roads looking out there, Hannah?
I'll tell you what, as soon as we were seeing that fog move in, I knew today could be a little bit tricky out there, and that has certainly been the case. Wanted to give you a live look once again if you're coming in from North Austin, traveling southbound. We've seen some big slowdowns out there. Pretty serious crash a little bit earlier out near Tech Ridge. That is all cleared up, but ever since then, it's just kind of been that slow moving area there, approaching once again into that Wells Branch and Walnut Forest area southbound. Looking a little bit better, though, I will say. You can see that we already have a little bit of stop and go on Mopac as well, approaching the Domain, so going to keep my eye on that. And then South Austin, been another rough morning, really seeing that fog out there, about 5 or 6 miles of a slow crawl. It is moving, though, in the northbound lanes through Bluff Springs, and no active crash as of right now. That can always change, though. A little bit of debris coming and going from Dripping Springs. We had a crash out there a little bit earlier at Sunset Valley. That is looking better, but you guys already know it could get just slow down as we're heading into this school drop-off zone here. We've got 43 minutes for you if you are traveling northbound from Buda and South Austin. Looking better, though. We were at 30 or so minutes a little bit ago heading southbound from Round Rock, so we were able to shave off a little bit of time, but I mean, 32 miles per hour, not moving fast. Mopac's looking great, though. We've got 21 minutes if you just want to cruise down southbound. But I mean, I did show you there's a little bit of stop and go approaching the Domain, but no crashes or anything like that. So we can certainly take that with us. Loop 360 moving across the Pennybacker Bridge. No issues there, looking under 10 minutes so far. And even 183 is looking pretty good right now as we're heading out the door. So once again, my main concerns are going to be along I-35 if you're coming in from that North Austin area or South Austin. So really kind of feeling that on both sides of the map this morning. So definitely factor in the fog. Rob?
All right, thank you very much, Hannah. For the first time since leaving the White House, former President Joe Biden spoke publicly. Biden gave a speech at a conference in Chicago talking about Social Security and criticizing the Trump administration and the Department of Government's efficiency for slashing government programs. Take a listen.
Why are these guys taking aim at Social Security now? Well, they're following that old line from tech startups. The quote is, move fast, break things. Well, they're certainly breaking things. They're shooting first and aiming later.
Now, the former president's speech came as Democratic congressional leaders labeled Tuesday a day of action, also focusing on Social Security. And today, a federal judge will hear arguments over the fate of the man who was wrongfully deported to a mega prison in El Salvador. The Supreme Court ordering the White House to facilitate his return again back to the U.S. ABC's Melissa Adan has the latest details.
A federal judge taking on the case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia is chastising the Trump administration, saying they have done, quote, nothing to comply with the Supreme Court's order to facilitate the return of Abrego Garcia. Abrego Garcia is now entering his second month in the El Salvador mega prison after the Trump administration mistakenly deported him there on March 15th. The Supreme Court ordered the White House to facilitate his return back to the United States. Judge Paula Zenes declaring every day Abrego Garcia spends in that prison is a day of further irreparable harm. Outside federal court, supporters for Abrego Garcia, including his wife Jennifer, an American, pleading for his return.
I will not stop fighting until I see my husband alive. Our children are asking, when would you come home? And I pray for the day I tell them the time and date that you'll return.
Today, Justice Department lawyers insisting the administration is prepared to facilitate Abrego Garcia's presence in the United States if he presents at a port of entry. But President Trump says Abrego Garcia's release is up to the El Salvador government. The DOJ arguing they cannot compel El Salvador to release Abrego Garcia from prison, even though the administration is paying El Salvador more than $6 million to hold him there, along with more than 200 other undocumented immigrants who they claim, without providing evidence, are members of violent gangs. Border Czar Tom Homan telling ABC's Rachel Scott that the administration will obey court orders.
This administration will obey court orders, unlike the last administration. But if you ask me if I'm in favor of returning terrorists to the United States that are gang members that have, murdered and raped young women in this country, no, I'm not in favor of that at all.
The government claims Abrego Garcia is a member of MS-13. A federal judge says the government has shown no evidence in court of that being true. Melissa Adan, ABC News, Los Angeles.
7:15 in your KVUE Crime Files. Seems like every other day we're talking about another wave of car break-ins around Central Texas. Kyle police have seen their share, but this is no two-bit operation. KVUE's Yvonne Nava shows us it's way more complicated, and authorities are turning to an old-school device to solve this new problem.
When you park your vehicle, you're going to want to grab your steering wheel lock.
Many of you haven't seen one of these
You're going to put these hooks
in decades.
and then just pull it tight.
When it comes to protecting your car against theft,
But it's an old solution to a new crime trend.
I have to admit, I personally have one of these things. It feels like the old school protect your car type of mentality, but the fact is that it works.
If it's good enough for Kyle Police Chief Jeff Barnett, it should be good enough for us.
The thief can see that when they look through the window and tell this vehicle is going to be more problematic than the next. Why don't I simply go to the next one?
While car thefts aren't anything new, the reason behind the latest trend is
The trend now is to steal that car to go out and commit burglaries and thefts.
that way they can hit up several other cars, and the stolen ride they're in can't be traced back to them through license plate readers. Chief Barnett says these crime rings often involve multiple people across multiple jurisdictions. He recalled the arrest of 3 men late last year after a car was stolen in Kyle, prompting a near 20-mile police chase ending in Austin.
They lost control of their vehicle and blew a tire. The officer stopped the vehicle, and inside the vehicle were hundreds, if not thousands of dollars worth of stolen goods.
From computers to handguns, Chief Barnett asks that drivers stop leaving valuables in cars.
Because remember, that is their real target.
He wants to encourage people to use GPS tracking in their cars or third-party services like OnStar that could help you locate your car if it's stolen.
A good car thief can steal a car in less than a minute.
And Chief Barnett says it only takes seconds to put on a steering wheel lock.
They're willing to do their research on how to victimize you, so it's important that you do everything that you can to prevent yourself from becoming a victim.
Good advice right there. Sometimes old school is the best way, right? Well, as the weather gets warmer, you might be tempted to travel to sunny destinations, but your day at the beach may come with some health risks. Zoreen Shah explains in today's Medical Minute.
Melanoma is a deadly skin cancer caused by the sun's UV rays. It often appears as an abnormal mole. If caught early, nearly all patients can be cured, but if found later, it can be deadly. You can't entirely prevent melanoma because risk factors like family history, age, and skin color are beyond your control, but there are ways to lower your risk. The American Cancer Society recommends slip, slop, slap, and wrap. Slip on a shirt, slop on sunscreen, slap on a hat, and wrap on sunglasses. It is also important to avoid UV light from the sun or tanning beds. If you want that sun-kissed glow, consider a spray-on or self-tanner. Children and anyone with a weakened immune system may be at a higher risk for melanoma and need to be even more careful about sun exposure. And if you see an abnormal mole, remember the ABCDEs. If something is asymmetric, has border irregularity, color variation, a diameter of more than 1/4 inch, about the size of a pea, or is evolving or changing, please see a doctor as soon as possible. A melanoma spot can be easily removed, but if missed in early stages, you will need medications. With this Medical Minute, I'm Zoreen Shah.
And some big names coming to the U.S. Grand Prix at Circuit of the Americas this fall. The music headliners for the weekend are Kygo and a guy named Garth Brooks, as well as the Turnpike Troubadours. Now, Kygo is going to be featured Friday night. He's a DJ from Norway. He has billions of views online. He's been featured on songs with Ed Sheeran, Selena Gomez. Then there's a guy named Garth Brooks, perhaps the biggest country name of our generation. I mean, the 90s, he owned the 90s and 2000s, right? No stranger to Austin either. In September, he was inducted into the Austin City Limits Hall of Fame. Last year, he performed at the annual Mac, Jack, and McConaughey Gala. And after the race on Sunday then, October 19th, the Turnpike Troubadours will perform A Texas tradition, absolutely. Single day tickets are on sale right now. I've not seen them, but Brian May says he loves them, and I trust in Brian, so I bet they're fantastic. F1 arrives in Central Texas October 17th through the 19th. Again, single day tickets are now on sale. Some more good news for you right now. Popular food truck meal program coming back to Austin ISD. Talking about all these cuts coming. Well, this is an addition. The Nacho Average Food Truck, that's the name of it, will offer break and lunch to high school students across the district. That truck was actually bought by ISD back in 2017, but services, of course, stopped in 2020 because of the pandemic. The truck then kind of, saw better days, but it's now back thanks to a grant by No Kid Hungry Texas, a nonprofit focused on ending childhood hunger. The money was used to repair that truck you see right there for its relaunch. And we leave you this morning with something to talk about. Popular house in the Houston area. Sorry, it's now off market. It's been sold. Built like a character from a galaxy far, far away. Talk about the Darth Vader house. Recently listed for $3.3 million. You see why right there. It's called the Darth Vader house. Look like him, right? Designed to look like a stealth fighter, but come on, it looks like a villain from Star Wars. The previous owner was a Jason Junkin, and he says, it was fun while it lasted. Take a listen.
House, loved it, thought it was cool, thought it was a spaceship when I was a kid. It's a cool feeling. When you're a kid, you're thinking about driving fancy cars and all this stuff, and I would never have thought that I would have bought the Darth Vader house.
Now, the brokerage company behind the sale says they're planning a special event for the public so you can tour the home on May the 4th, which, of course, the unofficial Star Wars Day. That's it for our Daybreak Plus. Let us know what you would like to talk about. Message us at 512-459-9442. You can also message me on socials at Rob Evans TV on Insta, Facebook, or X. And stick around because Daybreak continues right here on KVUE Plus. Before I leave, I want to say happy 16th birthday from my beautiful daughter, Carly. Love you. Goodbye, everybody.